I have wasted so much time thinking about all the time I've wasted. Maybe this is what needed to happen. I have plenty of ideas, but executing them is another story. In this instance, I have many episode concepts for the podcast, coupled with scheduling conflicts. But I have to push through, not let unforeseen circumstances hold me back.
Hello, welcome.
Tara here again. Let's Talk About It is the name of the show, where we talk about all things pertaining to improving our mindset, to live happier lives, how we cope, and tacos. Yeah. In this episode, I want to talk about perception, perspective, the probablys and possiblys, and overthinking. How there's not always one way to look at things, and how sometimes we may only see one point of view, or maybe a few possibilities, but they may lean toward a certain direction based on bias or our current state of emotion, etc. I think it's important to stop overthinking the same old trash. Looping, I call it. Zoom out, kind of put yourself in another person's shoes, or 100 pairs of shoes. If you must overthink, do it with some positives or some craziness. Recycle that wasted time into new possibilities, I guess. So let's rewind to episode 0. It was hard to record and even harder to share. I think things, quote unquote, like not working out is a silly notion because somehow they always do. Exactly the way that they should. Sometimes you have to zoom out, reflect, see it from another perspective. So episode 0, which you probably should just pause and go watch for context if you haven't already, but either way, like I said, it was difficult to do, but once I finished, it felt really good. I could have, and I did in the beginning, think of all the negative things and what could go wrong and such, but instead, to quote Mel Robbins, I thought, what if it all works out? When I first heard it, I used it for so much, and I shared it with one of my sisters, and she uses it too. I even tattooed it on myself, which leads me to my happy hypotheticals. When I find myself in an unfortunate event or unforeseen circumstance, I used to think it must be this or that. A or B, sometimes C. Rarely ever something positive, but I guess getting through enough of those kind of situations to find the beautiful ones, I realized I'm always exactly where I need to be. Why do we forget those things? I think the best way to explain it is with an example. So happy hypotheticals isn't always happy. Like I said, it could be crazy, but it's just to get yourself thinking. So say you're late to work and you pass a car accident that just happened. Maybe when you get to work, you get written up, but you didn't die. That's number 1. Number 2, maybe you can't get promoted, but you hate that job. You would have been stuck there forever and not met this next person who got you the next job opportunity. Or number 3, the person driving was a wanted murderer, and that happened. Number 4, what if you were on time to work and that first customer you helped really messed up your day, and then you took it home or to the next place you went and got in a big fight with someone you love? I can go on and on, but yeah, like I said, it doesn't all seem happy per se or whatever. Now, I'm not saying do this every time. It's just a practice. Maybe like when you can't get out of overthinking, I've practiced it enough to just know that there are dozens, hundreds of possibilities, not just that first one you think of. I don't have to figure everything out all the time. I just have to remember that there are always countless ways to look at things. They're just there. Don't try to figure it out. This can be applied to people as well. We don't know why every person does or says what they do, but I know that there is a reason. It's not up to me to figure out that why. I just need to remember that there is one. That for me reinforces my capacity for empathy. Like, you ever have those acquaintances or like people you see frequently, or maybe just that friend of a friend you haven't connected with or been properly introduced to? One could say, oh, they probably don't like me, or they probably think I'm this or that, or they probably heard this or that. And sure, yeah, those are all possibilities. But probablys? They probably think, they probably heard? No, that's silly. It's not probably, it's just possibly. Let's try it with the happy hypotheticals real quick. Okay, so the situation with the friend of a friend, maybe you think they seem cool, like, why don't we connect? They're friends with my friends, la-di-da. They seem standoffish. Well, number one, maybe they're possibly having a hard time with something at home or at work. Number two, maybe they just had a breakup. Or number three, maybe their trust was broken by another friend and it's been hard to make new friends. Number four, maybe they're just shy and anxious lately. Number five, maybe you remind them of an ex or somebody who recently passed. Number six, they're thinking the same thing about you. Number seven, maybe they've just been feeling insecure. Number eight, you kind of know them and you left a sweater at a get-together at their house and they feel bad because they wore it and they stained it or caught it on fire and they don't know how to tell you. Okay, that one's a little crazy, but like, you see what I'm saying? They could just be really in their own head about reasons 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Who knows? And who cares? What you do know is that there's something out of your control. It's out of your control. So you can either dwell on your perspective or let it go. And remember, you don't need to go down the rabbit hole of fictional negative hypotheticals. So back to when I said standoffish, it reminded me of this story. So there was this girl that she was a neighbor of a friend of mine, and he used to have get-togethers outside his apartment. And I always thought his neighbor was so cool. She was so social, and she had this light about her. She was really pretty, and just seemed like a fun person. And she moved away for like, I don't know, like a year or two. And when she came back, I ran into her at a show, and we got to talking. And she said that I seemed like I didn't like her, like maybe I was standoffish. And I thought that was so crazy. Because in my perspective, I was like, whoa, I was just so shy. I was like, I'm not cool enough. I got nothing to say. I don't know. I was just really shy back then. And it really opened my eyes. And I've had similar examples of situations like that. And it's just been crazy. Like, I think I'll save some of those for another time. And, because I'd really like to continue this topic with a guest in a future episode. So how about I want to invite anyone interested in this conversation to reach out. Let's talk about it.